Welcome to Satsang. So beautiful to be together with you all on this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful night. We begin Satsang usually with a question that's come in from our family joining us from all over the world. One of the great blessings of the gift of technology is that for people who aren't able to be here physically, they can join the Ganga Arti, they can join the Satsang through our beautiful gift of technology, and they send in questions. So out of deference to the fact that they're not able to be here personally, मेरी आवाज़ नहीं आ रही है पीछे आपको? आ रही है ठीक से? अच्छा, okay. Out of deference to the fact that they're not able to be here physically, we start with a question from them, and then we open it up to any questions that anyone here might have. There's a microphone right here in the center, so just feel free to come to the mic and ask your question. But starting with one that's come in advance. How can I use yoga to overcome fear, anxiety, and stress in my life? How can I use yoga to overcome fear, anxiety, and stress? Great question. So first of all, it's important to realize we'll talk about asanas, the actual exercises, but it's important to realize that yoga is not just the exercises. It's not just about which exercises can I do to become calm. Yoga is a system, a science, an art of uniting with the divine. That's actually what it means. The word yoga literally means union. Most of us think about it as a union of, our nose to our knees or our fingertips to our toes. But it's actually a union of self to the divine. When you are united with the divine, stress automatically goes. There's no stress. Stress is because we are living as this separate individual body. What's in it for me? What am I going to get? What's going to happen to me? So I'm stressed. If I'm competing with someone, naturally I want to be first. What if they win? I'm stressed. If I want something from someone and they're not giving it to me, whether it's love, whether it's respect, whether it's appreciation, whether it's more money, I'm going to be stressed. When I stop living in separation and I start living in oneness with the divine, the stress disappears. It all disappears. Because you're living in a constant state of abundance. Doesn't mean you're necessarily going to have a lot of money. Doesn't mean you're going to have a big house and a lot of cars. Doesn't mean you're going to have 2 million followers on TikTok or Facebook or Instagram. But it means that internal experience will be one of the cup that runneth over. That instead of it being about what you have, a lot of us mistake abundance and prosperity for being about what we have. It isn't. It's about how you feel about what you have. I grew up in America, in Los Angeles, in a world surrounded by people who had a lot of money, a lot of prosperity and opportunity and wealth on that level. And yet, tragically, almost all of them wanted something more. There was a sense in almost everyone still of stress, of tension. Whether how they looked, what their house was like, what their career was like, their family. No matter what you have, if it's all on the outside, you're always going to feel empty on the inside. Doesn't matter how big the mansion you're sitting in is, or how many cars there are in the driveway. If you are not deeply connected to the divine, to source, to truth on the inside, you're going to feel empty. And so yoga is the path through which we experience that union. The sage Patanjali gave us, there's a lot of different works on yoga, but the sage Patanjali gave us 8 limbs of yoga, what's called Ashtanga Yoga, and a system beginning with how you live in the world, truthfulness, non-violence, not stealing or hoarding, having integrity and purity in your relationships, having purity in your life, doing your sadhana, doing your tapasya, doing your reading of scriptures, your study of the self, surrender to the divine, beginning with that. Moving all the way up through using the body in asana, using the breath, into ways of working with the mind, ultimately into the 8th limb of samadhi, that union. If you look at yoga as that, it is designed as a system to remove the stress and the worry and the pain of your life. First, because if all of my interactions in the world are honest, clear, transparent, with integrity and compassionate, you actually feel so good inside. I've seen a lot of people lie because they think it's going to make life easier. Oh, just a little white lie, kuch bhi nahi hai. Chalo wo khush ho jayenge sun ke. I think somebody will be happy from what I've said. It's okay, it's a good little white lie. But what you don't realize is what happens to you on the inside when you speak a lie, even if it's little. Anxiety bruise. It's actually how they do lie detector tests. You know, a machine, of course, has no idea whether you stole the money or not. How does a lie detector work? Because when you lie, you become stressed. And it actually is reading what they call your galvanic skin response, which has to do with, are you sweating? What's the electricity like on the surface of your skin? What's your pulse like? What's your blood pressure like? And it looks at all those markers and it says, this is a lie because you are stressed when you say it. So simply changing through the teachings of yoga how you deal with the world, simply living with more generosity, more compassion, more integrity, more purity, more truthfulness, automatically your stress becomes less. And then you work through asana, through pranayama, how to use the body, how to use the breath to change. Change your heart rate, change your blood pressure, change what's happening in the mind. Right? There's that beautiful teaching that says, Sthira Sukham Asana. That which is stable and happy is asana. It's a very beautiful teaching. We think of asana just as physical exercises, but they're actually a path into joy and stability. Not only in the asana. It's not just my trikonasana is stable and I feel happy. But through the actually diligent practice of asana, I attain joy and stability in my life. Stress dur ho jate. And then as you go higher, working with the mind, withdrawing the senses, bringing it to a single pointed focus, meditation. Well, these are practices that are tried and true for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Long before we had smartphones dinging and pinging and distracting us. But when we still had a monkey mind that by its nature was distractible. We're given these techniques. So the practice of yoga, any way you go into that river is going to automatically reduce that stress. And then of course you take the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Krishna's teachings on yoga. Well, it's all about wisdom, gyan, knowing the truth. Who are you? Well, if I know who I am, suddenly my neighbor's loud music isn't going to unsettle me too much. Okay, it might keep me awake. I might lose a night's sleep. I might be tired the next day. But I'm not going to lose myself because I know who I am. I'm going to understand the nature of myself in the universe. So whether it's Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, devotion, Karma Yoga, all of these ways of deepening spiritually, every single one of them, one of the very first things to happen is your stress goes away. Stress is there for one simple reason. What I want is not happening in the moment, or I am concerned that in the future what I want will not happen. I'm stressed right now because I'm stuck in traffic and I'm late. I want the traffic to go away. It's not going away. I'm stressed. Or I'm stressed that in the future, I'm not going to have the job I want. My kids aren't going to study. They're not going to get into the right university. I will be an embarrassment in the community. It's all rooted in one thing, what I want, and a fear that it's not going to happen. The moment that you experience deep spirituality, suddenly that sense of your attachments to what you want, that sense that only through this thing am I going to be happy, and oh my God, if I don't get it, the world is going to come to an end, the sky will fall, it disappears. It disappears. You know, it's like when you watch a movie. Sometimes you want something to happen, and it doesn't happen, and that's okay. You can enjoy the movie anyway. You don't lose your sleep, you don't lose your dinner. Maybe the movie didn't end exactly how you wanted it to. It's all right. It was still a good movie. Life becomes like that. So it's a beautiful, beautiful question to start. Other questions, anyone, any questions that anyone here might have, just feel free to come up to the microphone. Yeah, it's always a question of who's gonna have the courage to be the first one to ask. Then it comes more easily. Yes.
Hello. I've been coming to Parmarth since almost 12 years now, learning first yoga meditation. Then with pandemic, I was caught up in London in my flat and couldn't have yoga in my life as I thought I should have. And But then you started to do like online yoga class, which was a blessing. And like that, I really got back into my practice because I realized I had all the tools in myself that I had learned here. Since the pandemic, I've learned Vipassana meditation, and it really took me to a very different level. And I now just finished like the Vedanta introduction course, the Bodhisattva Buddha, which is a very complex thinking and abstraction. So this was just an introduction to say, I am really, as a European, of course, interested in the idea of duality, because this is the world we live in Europe, in mind, body, you know, and left, right, male, female. But I also am very interested in this idea of non-duality. How is it possible to integrate the two in the same life or being or practice of yoga or, yeah?
Beautiful question. Beautiful question. So, in the Vedic tradition, the tradition of Sanatan Dharma, there are almost an innumerable number of different paths to the divine. An almost innumerable variety of different ways that you can worship. But there are two main distinctions. The main distinction is between what we call a non-dual path, which is a path of bhakti, a path of devotion, a path of loving God. Whatever form it may be in, whatever way, whatever name, but a path of loving God. We sit on the banks of Ganga, we sing Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, we sing Ma Gange, Jai Ma Gange, we sing the Hanuman Chalisa. We worship the divine, we perform arti to the divine, we perform it in temples, we perform it on the banks of Ganga. It is part of a practice of bhakti, allowing that love for God to blossom in our hearts. And of course, loving God, bhakti yoga, is one of the most powerful and also one of the simplest ways to access God. If you think about it, love is so easy. Love comes so naturally to us. And when you love someone, you automatically become one with them. And in that oneness, whether we say self-realization, God-realization, moksha, we attain it through love. There's many, many, many beautiful examples of sages and saints and mystics, not only of the Hindu tradition, but of so many different traditions in the world, who were lovers of God. Lovers of God, from Rumi to St. Francis of Assisi, to so many, all the different religions have them. Beautiful path to God. We tell stories of Mirabai and her merging into Krishna, not just in heart, but even in body. It's a very powerful path. The path of love is a path that, well, without love, I think it would be very difficult to attain really anything worthwhile in life. Even just peace, joy, meaning in life. But especially that realization of God. And then we come to the non-dual path. And the non-dual path, again, has many different lineages and options within it. The main one is something called Advaita Vedanta, which is what you've been studying here for the last several days. And it's a path in which there literally is no two. There is no separation. It is non-dual. Nothing but the divine. Nothing but existence, or Brahman, this supreme reality from which we've never been separate. So it's not about a reunion. Remember we said yoga is about union? Well, union implies there are two that are coming together into one. According to the non-dual tradition, there are no two. And so in the bhakti tradition, in the yoga tradition, we are given a lot of different tools and techniques and practices. Whether it's prayer, whether it's chanting, whether it's kirtan, whether it's puja, whether it's yogasanas, pranayama, all of these practices to attain God, to attain realization, to purify our mind so we can experience the truth of God. In the tradition of non-dualist, the only real technique that would be given is one of meditation, so that you can become aware of the truth as it is. It's not about building something, deepening something, growing something, nothing. There is nothing to be done. You just need to wake up to the truth and the awareness, remove the illusion. There is no separate self. That is all Maya. And that's how the breakthrough would happen. Now, how do you combine these? As we were speaking about the other night, for me in my life on a personal level, I'm sure there are people who would say, oh, you can't combine them. I don't think that is true at all. I say that from personal experience, and I say that actually from some of the most beautifully enlightened, non-dual masters I have had the benefit of meeting, who, you could see it in their eyes. There was a love in their eyes, a light in their eyes that arises only in that deep love. And yet they were masters. Masters of Advaita, masters of the non-dual tradition, masters of Vedanta. But somewhere along the way, as they mastered the truth, they fell in love with the truth. It wasn't that they were doing puja or singing kirtan to an image of God, but somewhere in the experience and the connection to that truth, they fell in love with the truth. Because you could see it. It's palpable. When you are in the presence of someone who knows and loves God, again, by any name or no name, as a separate being, as not a separate being, doesn't matter, but you feel it. What I've integrated and I work with in my life is a Gyan Yoga path that is very Vedantic, that is very non-dual, that is very much about a non-separation, a dropping into the awareness of self as inseparable from all of existence, an awareness of self as that Sat Chit Anand, that truth, that existence, that consciousness, that bliss. An awareness that all of the drama, the frustration, the stories, the anger, the desires, the aversions, that it's all drama. That it's all drama. And to see it as drama and not be attached to it. And to keep remembering and recognizing that true self that is unchanging, never born, never dies, never changes. And so that's a core meditative, contemplative, introspective technique that I use to keep reminding myself. And yet, sitting in Ganga Arati, all I want to do is love God and just sing and pray in love for the divine. And in certain temples, in certain holidays, when certain prayers or songs are going on, I am so filled with a love for God that tears just pour out of my eyes. And the idea of somehow stopping that ecstatic tears and saying, wait, actually, Krishna's not separate from you. And it would be not only ludicrous and painful, but counterproductive. Because remember, they're all pathways, ultimately into an experience. Life's not a test. It's not that there's going to be a multiple choice exam when you die. It's about what have you realized on the inside? What have you experienced on the inside? And how has that realization impacted how you live your human birth? That's what determines both the quality of your life here and what happens after you die in your rebirth. So take the beautiful teachings that you've been given, meditate on them, integrate them into your life. Every time you feel like you're going to get angry or frustrated or stressed or attached, just remember, neti neti, not this, not that. Every time you look in the mirror, whether you look in the mirror and you say, wow, looking handsome today, or you look in the mirror and you say, oh my God, you look awful. Either way, remember, neti neti. Just let it be your daily practice. And when you see a sunrise or a sunset, or you look in the eyes of a brand new baby, or anything happens in the world that fills you with love for the divine creator, even though we know that this creation is Maya. It's Leela. It's the divine play, okay. But you know what? Art is one of the greatest joys of life. I mean, could you imagine if we said, thou shalt never go to, a beautiful play because it's not real? How much we would deprive ourselves. I mean, could you imagine if Shakespeare were banished and Broadway was banished and all great art was banished because it's not real? The Impressionists were banished, Monet was banished, Van Gogh was banished, everybody's banished because it's not real. How much we'd lose. Okay, we know it's not real. But something so powerful happens in us. I was just in Washington, D.C. last week and went to see this beautiful Monet immersion that they're having in D.C. And you literally sit back in a reclining chair and they've used AI to fill the entire room, every wall, the ceiling, the floor, with his paintings come alive. It is a meditation on beauty. You can't help but cry. Is it real? No, neither are the paintings real, nor is the AI projection of it real. But am I better because of the experience? Absolutely. So let yourself have those as well. Love is a very powerful energy. Don't deprive yourself of it. Yes. Beautiful. Other questions? Yes, come please. Don't be shy.
you said, like, when we want something, we become more stressful, right? Is it like bad to want something? And also, if I desired something, isn't it giving me some motivation to grow, to discover what's not been discovered?
Yes, beautiful. Desire is not bad at all. Desire actually is wonderful. If we had no desire, we would never get out of bed in the morning. It is desire that propels us out of bed. Even if it's only desire to use the bathroom or have a shower or have breakfast, it is desire that propels us out of bed. There is nothing we would do if we didn't desire it. आप लोग रहने दो, कोई बंदे बैठ जाओ, हो गया, बैठ जाओ. There's nothing we would do if we didn't desire it. So desire is wonderful. It's an energy. The dilemma arises when when we become attached to the outcome of what we desire. And even more than that, when we expect that what we want will happen. So have a desire, no problem. Fantastic. But if what you desire doesn't happen, then what? That's the question. Can you hold the desire very sincerely and very lightly? Plant seeds with love, with sincerity, with dedication, with tenacity, and with full awareness that you have absolutely no control over what blossoms, what flowers, what fruits, and what doesn't. It is not in your hands. So let your desire be a catalyst, sure, but then ask yourself, what am I desiring? Because if we recognize that desire is an energy, you got to be sure, what are you desiring? If I'm using my energy to work toward my goals, then you better be sure that you've got good goals. Otherwise, where are you going to be? Right? Mahatma Gandhi said so beautifully, what is the point of running so fast when you're running in the wrong direction? So we've got a lot of technology, of science, of ways of gaining speed, literally and metaphorically. But where's our direction? So have desires, absolutely. But ask yourself two critical questions. Number one, where is this desire taking me? So for example, if I have a desire for revenge against somebody who hurt me, okay, at the end of the day, let's say I achieve it. Then what? Where am I? A lot of bad karma, a lot of wasted energy, a lot of conflict. As Pujya Swamiji says, you've just opened up a brand new file in your karmic filing cabinet. For what? If you've got a desire to eat a lot of pizza or to eat chocolate cake or to go out and get drunk, ask yourself, okay, let's say I get it, then what? How am I going to feel when I wake up tomorrow morning? How am I going to feel after the realization of this desire? Or even something more common like a desire for a lot of money. Well, there's no problem with money at all. It also is just an energy. But you've got to ask yourself, if that becomes the catalyst for my life, by the time I achieve it, if I do achieve it, where am I in the other areas of my life? What do I have to forsake in order to make all of that money? What do I have to do? Who do I have to cheat? Whose head do I have to step on? Who do I have to push out of the way What corners do I have to cut? What ethics and values and morals do I have to compromise on? And maybe you don't. Maybe you're one of the beautiful, fortunate few who's able to actually attain great wealth in alignment with great integrity. It happens. But you've got to be conscious about that. Because if the ultimate goal is money, then we become prepared to sacrifice everything else along your way. So ask yourself, number one, what are the goals? And where are they taking me? And number two, ask yourself, if I don't get it, then what? And if I'm going to be miserable and lose myself, then this desire is just an exercise in frustration. Can you hold the desire lightly? You have the desire, wonderful. It happens, great. It doesn't happen, okay. That's the way to hold it. It isn't the desire itself that's the problem. It's the expectation that I will get what I want and my reaction when I don't. Beautiful. Wonderful. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your evening, everyone. We will not be having satsang for the next few nights. I know we just started back up again, but I am traveling tomorrow. I will be back on the 8th, Sunday. We will start satsang again on Sunday. Make sure, though, on Sunday, that before coming to satsang, that you come to the beautiful Ganga Arati. It's something you should make sure you come to anyway. If I am not in the Arati, it means my travel got delayed and that we will be starting only from Monday the 9th. If I'm there in the Arati on Sunday, it means we will be having satsang. As of now, my plan is to be back on Sunday afternoon and to have satsang in the evening. But just if by chance I get late, we'll be starting again on Monday. But you'll know from the beautiful Arati on Sunday evening. And have a beautiful, beautiful next few days. And in the meantime that I'm not here, please do be sure anyway to take advantage of the beautiful yoga classes and meditation classes and philosophy classes and everything that's here. And so much love to you all.